evening and welcome to SVG-TV News, Friday, April 19, 2024. I am Rochelle Baptiste with the details. Rotarians from 17 countries in the Southern Caribbean are currently in SVG participating in a two-day District 7030 conference where a number of matters and projects will be deliberated on as they plan for the 2024-2025 calendar year. Speaking at the opening ceremony last evening at the Kingston Baptist Church was District Governor of the Rotary 7030, Brian Glasgow, who highlighted the 7 areas of focus of the Rotary Club, which has now incorporated some of the sustainable development goals in its programs.
Our most recent area of focus is protecting the environment. And almost every single club in our district is involved in projects like a beach cleanup. And very recently, I happen to be involved in one as well in Tobago. You remember the recent oil spill? Well, Rotary volunteers were there to help with the cleanup. Also, there are many projects focused on helping to protect mangroves, and there are also many projects that are focused on rejuvenating our coral reefs.
District 7030 has 75 Rotary clubs from 17 countries and territories in the Southern Caribbean. And according to the district governor, mental health is a serious issue that the Rotary Club is tackling across these territories.
Effort in the fight against managing mental health. And one of our first tasks as Rotary clubs is to help in the fight of destigmatizing mental health. In the Caribbean region in particular, as I'm sure in many other areas of the world, we tend to look at mental health as a sign of weakness. We are comfortable talking about our physical disabilities, our broken arm, our fractured legs, but nobody wants to discuss mental health. And mental health is one of the biggest contributors to many of the social problems we face as a district. So we have a number of very successful projects so far that are targeting mental health development.
Other areas of focus that the Rotary Club lends support to are sanitation and hygiene, fighting diseases, supporting local economies, as well as peace and education. Rotary District 7030 is seen as a unique to other districts, and the district governor says it is well placed to continue to make a difference in the region.
We have members who are Hindus, members who are Muslims, members who are Jewish, members who are Christians, and we have non-religious members. Our Prime Minister likes to talk about, well, often talks about our Caribbean civilization. And our district is a microcosm of the Caribbean civilization that we all aspire to. Many languages, many different races, many different ethnic groups, many religions, but one people. This is the only part of the world where you will find people of African descent celebrating.
This is the first time that St. Vincent and the Grenadines is hosting the Rotary 7030 conference since its conception more than 50 years ago. The conference is being held under the theme Sharing Hope. And Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves was one of many dignitaries at the opening ceremony of the Rotary Club District 7030 conference last evening. The Prime Minister thanked the Rotarians for their contributions, which has made a difference in society.
It's wonderful to see an organization like Rotary rising beyond and above atomized individualism to that of the social individual, to build, as Brian has said, a better world of solidarity, of love, of faith, of renewed hope for particular ends which are uplifting. And I want to thank Rotary International and the Rotarians in our district for the tremendous contribution they have made to the society and the communities in St. Vincent and Grenadines.
Pointing out the number of Rotarians in the country from different countries, the Prime Minister said on the lighter note that it does well for SVG's tourism numbers and hoteliers.
I'm so happy that you're here, not only because of the presence of Rotary and what it stands for, but I suspect that the taxi men are making a lot of money from you. I believe also that the hotels are doing pretty well. Brian told me that there's going to be about 300 of you, Brian. Maybe close to that number. A little more than that. At one time, you had said maybe a number close to 500, and then I heard 3. So I think you're probably like a good politician, lowering expectations and delivering better.
Other dignitaries at the opening ceremony were Governor General Dame Susan Duggan and Opposition Leader Dr. Godwin Friday. The Serbian Minister of Science, Technological Development and Innovation, His Excellency Jelena Bekovac, and high-level delegation visited St. Vincent and Grenadines today and met with Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves. A news release from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said during the meeting the Serbian minister engaged in productive discussions with Prime Minister Gonsalves on matters related to advancing science, technology, innovation and bilateral cooperation. The release says, recognizing the importance of innovation and technological advancement in driving economic growth, both parties exchanged insights and ideas aimed at harnessing the potential for mutual benefit. The discussions highlighted the shared commitment of St. Vincent and Grenadines and the Republic of Serbia to leverage science, technology and innovation as catalysts for development. Meanwhile, Ambassador of Greece to St. Vincent and Grenadines, His Excellency Theodore Tiskaris, on Thursday concluded a diplomatic meeting here focusing on enhancing cooperation in the fields of tourism and trade between the two nations. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs says the meeting provided an opportunity to explore avenues for mutually beneficial collaboration. During the meeting, the ambassador is said to have engaged in constructive discussions with St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Ambassador to St. Vincent and the Grenadines to Cuba, His Excellency Ellsworth John, on matters related to tourism promotion and trade facilitation. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs says, recognizing the significance potential in these areas, both parties exchange insight and ideas aimed at strengthening bilateral ties and promoting economic development. In other local news now, we hear that child abuse is an issue of concern in the Vincentian society, with 241 reported cases last year. On the VC3 Roundtable Talk program on Tuesday evening, social worker Camille McIntosh spoke of the risk factors or signs of child abuse.
With each type of abuse, you of course have different factors, and we tend to place them in behavioral or physical indicators. So like for physical abuse, of course, it's those where you can see. You have the physical indicators that you can see. If the child is burned, if there are bruises, whatever injury is inflicted, you'd be able to see that. And then you have the behavioral factors. You have a child may become overly aggressive or withdrawn. With sexual abuse, you may have a child who is running away from home, a child who they don't want to talk to certain persons, they're fearful of certain persons. They may suddenly have, the physical signs, of course, they may suddenly have bruising around the genital areas. the way that they sit or walk. You may have smells coming from them, you know, so you would have different signs. Of course, with neglect and abandonment, we have different types of neglect and abandonment. You have the physical neglect, where their basic needs are not met. They're not given food, clothing, they're not properly supervised, they're not kept safe. You have educational neglect, where the parent does not ensure that the child is given the education, or they're not sent to school regularly. And you have emotional neglect, you know, you're withholding nurture, stimulation from them. You're not giving them that hug and attention and love that they're looking for. You're ignoring them, you're intimidating them, isolating them. And medical neglect, where you withhold proper health care from them. So it really depends on the type of neglect, type of abuse, and you would have different signs for each type.
McIntosh said two of the major challenges they have in managing child abuse in the society are failure to report the abuse and confidentiality.
In terms of not just the children, but the parent or guardian who know or ought to have known, as quoted from the Children Care and Adoption Act, they ought to have known that the child was abused or the child was in need of care and protection, and they failed to report. Because you might find that the perpetrator lives right in the home, or the perpetrator is known by the family, is a family friend or some other relative. So they want to keep it, you know, hush-hush, and they don't want the child to report. So they would prevent that child, they would keep that child from, you know, saying certain things to certain persons. So the child would not be able to report to let's say the teacher or anybody at church, anybody else in the community who they figure would help them. So that is one of the major challenges. Another challenge is confidentiality, in terms of a child may actually disclose to someone, and before you know it, instead of the person going to the police or coming to the Child Development Division, they tell everybody else out there. And that, when the child realizes, hey, you know, I told you something private and I wanted you to help me, I wanted you to point me in the right direction, you told everybody else, and now everybody else knows, and I am, you know, being ridiculed, which is further abuse. So especially for parents, if it is that a child comes to you to say, hey, this is what has been happening to me, you don't just go about telling everybody else. Try to find the person or the agency that would help your child. You don't have to go on social media and put it out there. Yes, if you put it on social media, somebody would see it and reach out to you. But I think by now we know that the Child Development Division, or as it is called, Social Welfare Department, and the police, you can even go to, as I say, one of the healthcare clinics or one of the hospitals, find a principal, find a teacher, find somebody who you know can give you the assistance you need for that child.
To deal with some of the challenges they face in addressing child abuse, McIntosh said they are engaged in awareness sessions at schools and in the various communities.
Meet the people where they are. So we are letting them know this is what you can do, because this month of April is Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month, and it is what we're trying to do, make sure that everybody is aware of how they can report, you know, what happens, you know, as we're doing here, the types of abuse, what you can look out for. And even if you don't understand certain things, you can just come to us at the Child Development Division, have a conversation with us. Even if you go to the police station, you talk to the police, they would be able to even, you know, sit down and talk to you, call us in if we have to do a joint interview with you, talk with you, we would be able to do that.
The theme for Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month 2024 is Don't Let Abuse Be Your Child's Story, Make a Change and End Child Abuse, with a focus on child neglect and abandonment, which is said to be prevalent in the Vincentian society, with 43% of the 241 reported cases of child abuse last year being neglect. A thick plume of Saharan dust is expected across the island over the weekend, decreasing visibility across St. Vincent and Grenadines, with moderate to thick haze being forecast due to varying concentration of Saharan dust. Meteorologist with the SVG Met Service, Desiree Neverson-Jack, urges persons to exercise caution during this period.
It can also reduce the air quality, causing runny nose, itchy eyes, throat irritation. Ministry of Health issued a post advising persons to follow medication plans, stay hydrated, wear a mask, and close doors and windows to reduce dust intrusion. I will also like to note here that a few showers from a low-level trough can be expected around Saturday across St. Vincent and the Grenadines, ahead of the Saharan dust intrusion.
The Marion House is positioning a number of the nation's youth for employment through its skills training programs. This is according to Marion House Director Jeannie Oliver, who said that this year there are 70 youths in the program, 35 in Kingston and the same number at the Georgetown branch. Oliver said it is her hope that after the one-year program, at least 85% of the participants can gain employment.
We have a 84% employment rate, 2023. This is 2024, and we're hoping that maybe we could get to an 85% employment rate. Because the idea is to ensure that it is not just the life skills for 6 months, the practical skills and the internship or the practice, but it's a 6-component program where they must do community service, and within doing the community service, there's a mentor from their community who will serve as a liaison between the community and Marion House. And then we also have a meeting with the parents and the mentors so that they are aware of their roles and responsibilities during the entire period.
The Marion House has been running programs for more than 30 years and over the years improved its structure to ensure the youths are all rounded individuals and prepared for the job market.
We are at the point in the program where they are thinking of looking to go out to the technical institutes to learn their skill, and that should be about 3 months, and after that they will go out on internship, because our program is a full-time 1-year program. 6 months at Marion House, 3 months at the institute, and 3 months on internship. When the youths leave, they receive a kit based on the skill that they would have learned, so that they can become self-employed, or 2 or 3 of them can come together and form their own partnership and business.
The Marion House director said that from all indications, additional areas of training has to be added as more of the youths are looking to get into the hospitality sector.
Hospitality, because they say that's where the market is pointing them. That's where the demand on the Vincentian market is for the tourism industry. And remember, we have hotels that are being constructed, so they want to become employed. And it makes no sense you give them a skill that there's no need for on the market. So they are pointed towards the whole business of hospitality, whether it be bar, food, housekeeping, whatever that the hospitality industry demands.
As students across St. Vincent and the Grenadines prepare for the external exams, guidance counselor Margaret Grant is advising them to make the most of every moment they have, but she is cautioning against focusing too much on the time frame leading up to the exams. Discussing exams preparation on the NBC Radio Let's Face It program this week, Grant, who is from Barbados, said a lot can be accomplished in any amount of time, and that it is crucial to create a revision schedule and to list all the topics or subject areas in which you are weak in and concentrate on them. She also advised students to review past papers.
No, obviously you would look at more than 1 year's paper. So you can look at 10 years, 5 years, 3 years ago and see these similarities. Sometimes some papers come set in the same way, same topics, but just the questions are put differently. This is where children can get together. And again, boys especially can come together, form groups, small groups, study groups, where you're going to identify some challenging topics and you're going to work on them. Now, when you go into, just imagine a child who is stressed out, who feels stressed out. They have gone into a group and they get to realize that there are other children in the group who might feel stressed as well. Or they might get to realize that other students in the group are fairly confident, but they might also realize that they do not know everything. And something that they knew was able to help somebody who they thought had it all down pat. So study groups tend to be therapeutic. And the important thing is to select, you just want about 3 people, 3, 4 people who are focused, who are serious about work, and you organize your time, organize what you're going to study. You might be looking at an exam question, and you can just focus on that. Each person can have a different part of it, or everyone can prepare the whole question and then come and share ideas. And I'm sure that when that is done, everybody walks away learning something.
Grant asserts that tests will always exist and that you should never allow yourself to be overwhelmed by them, and said she advised that if you have to study, focus on the minutes and seconds that matter most, noting that many things can be accomplished in seconds.
Try not to become overwhelmed. Try not to create problems or look at the problems. If you find that you're more negative than positive, your thoughts are, you're telling yourself a lot of negative things, and you feel as though you're gonna fail. You feel like a failure. Please do not have a pity party. Reach out to somebody. And let them help you with those thoughts. Okay. Exams are a good time. You have been practicing. You've been working all along, and it's just like 2 people in a boxing ring, the examiner and you. The examiner is coming to knock you out, and you are coming to show the examiner that you will not be knocked out. So please practice. Do all you can to prepare. Use as many methods, as many techniques, whether they're traditional or not. Use as many methods as possible. And remember, plagiarism is going to be a factor. So please keep yourself away from that. Cheating is a big thing. Many children go into exams and cheat. I've heard of children who were caught with paper in their lap, and they said, "Oh, it blew through the window." But it so happened that paper that blew through the window had exactly what was needed for that exam. Was that God sent? Of course not. Okay, so really practice. Practice, and pray. Work.
And community dietitian Melody Hercules is encouraging people across SVG to ensure that you have a balanced diet, including enough iron and vitamin D. Hercules, who was a virtual guest on NBC Radio Face-to-Face program today, said it is also important to read food labels, particularly if you are battling a health condition, to avoid consuming the wrong types of food.
Sometimes people feel, okay, because I'm older now, I don't have to drink milk, I don't have to eat this, I don't have to eat that. But then when we don't do that, we start to lack certain nutrients. And vitamin C especially. We're not consuming healthy choices when it comes to fruits and vegetables, so we're not maintaining a strong immune system. So this means anything that passes around, any flu, any cold, any virus that goes around, we're so easy to get it because we don't have a strong immune system, because we're not taking our vitamin C as we should to help maintain that. So we'd like to tell persons for fat and salt below 5%. So if it's not saying that, and the product is saying low in fat and low in sodium, then it's not being honest. And that's how we get tricked sometimes. So it's very important to read. Not only that, but learning the different names for sugar, salt, and fat. You'll be surprised that fat and salt and sugar have about 20 other names. And sometimes we see a very long name and we just shut it out or blank it out, and we don't study it, or we only look to see if it says sodium or salt or sugar and fats. And it may not say that. However, there are 20 other names for each of them. So it's very important for us to do a little research, get to know the different names so that we can really see if what they're saying is correct. A tip or a trick that I would like to tell persons is that always look at the first 3 ingredients on the list, and that will tell you what the item is made up mostly of, because majority of the time they list things in order based on what is most in the product.
Providing advice for those attempting to gain or lose weight, the community dietitian said being patient with oneself is key. However, she recommends that before you get started, a thorough health examination needs to be done.
A lot of the times in society we have this idea that persons have to be a certain size to be considered healthy, and we tend to call persons who are a bit slimmer, or we tell them that they're too skinny, they need to put on weight. However, when you come and you get your test done, you do your weights and your height, and you get your BMI, your body mass index, and with the body mass index for a certain height, you're supposed to be a certain weight. So that person can be within the normal ranges, but because we think that they're supposed to look a bit bigger, or we like to see persons chunky, we tell them that they're too skinny. And sometimes this can lead to persons putting on weight, and it's not necessary, which can lead to them developing complications because now they've put on weight, or they've put on weight in an unhealthy fashion, because that is very possible. So eating properly works for both parties, whether it is losing weight or gaining weight. It is still important to eat healthy. So persons, if you're trying to gain weight, you'd have to increase the calories that you're consuming. Sometimes some persons just generally have a high metabolism, so they burn off their calories very fast and they don't maintain it. So for that, in that situation, they may have to most likely increase their caloric intake. Also, going to the gym and building muscle, because muscle helps you put on weight. But even with the calorie intake and increasing, it's very important that they are using foods that are nutrient dense.
Stressing that your health is your wealth, Hercules is encouraging everyone to invest in their health.
Even if it means it's taking an extra 5 minutes here, or you spend an extra $5 to buy the fruits and vegetables, do so. Take it now so that you're eating healthy now to avoid certain things in the future. Also, everything is a team. It's not just about eating well, it's not just about exercising, it's everything. Sleeping well, drinking water, eating as you should, balanced, portion sizing, and also exercising. Everybody's body is different, so even if you start a journey with somebody, never compare yourself and your results with somebody else's results.
In some police news now, we hear that the police have arrested and charged Kelvin Butte, a 41-year-old conductor of Revere, for burglary. The accused allegedly entered the dwelling house of a 51-year-old mason of Belvedere as a trespasser and stole $360 EC in cash. Entry gained by forcing open a wooden door. The offense was committed at Belvedere on April 16th at about 6:30 a.m. Butte appeared before the Kingston Magistrate Court. He pleaded guilty to the charge and was remanded into custody. He is expected to reappear at the Kingston Magistrate Court on Monday, April 22nd. In an assault matter now, police arrested and charged Franklin Joyles, a 43-year-old laborer of Richland Park, with assault causing actually bodily harm and damage to property. The incident occurred on March 29, 2024 at approximately 2:30 p.m. in Richland Park. Joyles is accused of physically assaulting a 55-year-old sailor from Richland Park by striking him about his body with his hands. Additionally, Joyles was charged for allegedly damaging one off-white hose valued at $890 EC belonging to the 55-year-old sailor by cutting same with a cutlass. Joyles appeared before the Mesopotamia Magistrate Court. He pleaded not guilty to the charge. The matter was adjourned to June 14, 2024. And in a drug-related matter now, the police arrested and charged Kevin Nelson, a 37-year-old shopkeeper of Longwall, and Randy Dunbar, a 37-year-old self-employed of Rillan Hill, for illegal possession of cocaine. Both accused were allegedly charged for having in their possession 6.5 grams of cocaine with the intent to supply another at Pearls Avenue on April 18th at about 12 p.m. Nelson and Dunbar Dunbar appeared before the Kingston Magistrate Court. Dunbar pleaded guilty to the charge and is remanded in custody. He is to appear at the Serious Offences Court on Monday for facts and sentencing. Nelson pleaded not guilty to the charge. He was granted bail in the sum of $2,500 EC dollars with one surety. He is to appear at the Serious Offences Court on Monday, April 22nd, 2024.